If you find your child is constantly on their phone, spending hours and hours on social media, and it feels like there isn't much you can do as a parent, then trust me, you're not alone. It's estimated that in the UK, teenagers on average spend 3 hours a day. I'm on the journey to help modern teenagers to minimize that social media overusage and save that time to actually do something more meaningful, including spending time with their family, doing academic work, and pursuing their hobbies and achieving that healthy work and life balance. In this video, I share some tips that you can apply straight away to help your child minimize their time on social media and what you can do to support them as a parent on that journey. The only thing I ask in return, please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and do drop me a comment below or a private message via my website on what challenges you faced as a parent and how are you currently dealing with social media overusage. So without further ado, let's get into this video. What actually is the problem with spending so much time on social media? Obviously, there is this loss of time that occurs during the day, but there is actually more to it. It's estimated that students cannot focus for more than 6 minutes without technological disruption. That means that the students can never achieve this full focus where they do their academic work. Furthermore, it's estimated that it takes about 5 minutes for us to regain full focus to get back into our task we were doing before. So that means if there was this technological disruption in the form of social media notification, it will take us 5 minutes on average. So that means that if our child receives about 5 different notifications on their phone from social media whilst doing their academic work or any other task, that means that they're going to lose in total 25 minutes per hour, which is the astonishing number. And if we have our kids who complain and saying, well, actually, I'm really tired, I don't have enough time to do the work, well, you can see where the time actually goes to. The other hypothesis would be is that we know that there are a lot of short videos across different social media networks where the videos last about 36 seconds or so. So imagine that we are teaching our children and telling them that it's okay to watch these videos and this is how the information is presented to their brains. 30 seconds. Next 30 seconds, then 30 seconds, 30 seconds. So actually, by allowing this overusage, we're not letting our children learn how to focus. So when they are presented with a more difficult task of an academic work, their brain is like, oh, I can only focus for 30 seconds to a minute. Oh, next 30 seconds, not next 30 seconds. So we are kind of growing this young generation of people who are unable to focus for longer periods of time. What it means is that these people who are overusing the social media, they are unable to focus and they can never reach the depth of the task that they're doing. This is why, as an educator and academic coach, I want to help and spread this message as much as possible across parents and students, and actually realizing that if we don't do something about it, we will lose the focus, and in the future we will just not be able to complete tasks to the higher quality they are required. So let's get into tips. Tip number 1, track the social media time. It's important to understand how much time your child actually spends on it. And therefore, I've produced these free trackers that you can download from the link below. And what I would recommend for you is to sit down one evening or whatever you want and actually write out the screen time spent on social media by your child. So an iPhone has the screen time option, and then I'm sure there is a similar thing for Android as well. The thing is, it doesn't allow you to go many months back. I think it's just only a month back. And unfortunately, you can't just extract this data. So you do need to do it pen and paper. And you need, as a parent, to decide what is the reasonable time for your child to spend on social media. It's not about stopping it, it's about minimizing it. But it's your decision. I'd say, okay, maybe 30 minutes to 40 minutes to an hour. It's probably within a day, maybe reasonable, okay? But it's the decision you need to make. But yeah, we know that 3 hours is just way too much. Some platforms are more popular with teenagers, such as Snapchat and TikTok, Instagram as well. So you need to see the one that that is being overused by your child and actually say, well, what can we do about it? Which I will further talk about it. But you need to understand what are the patterns. Is it more in the evening? Is it in the morning? I have some students that I helped before and they said, Anna, I said, how can you even fit 3 hours? And they're like, well, walking between the lessons, I have to check my social media. Oh, I'm walking back from school to home and, I'm not noticing the nature around me, but I do need to check my social media. That is a form of addiction, and it's our job as parents and educators to help our children actually minimize it. So by tracking it, you can first of all track the previous times, and then you can track them forward. And if the child knows that the time has to be tracked, that subconsciously they'll be like, okay, let me actually minimize it. So, and that's what we're trying to do. Tip number 2, delete social media apps from the phone. So as difficult as it might be, and I can imagine it will cause some disagreements between you and your child, but it's very important to actually say, well, okay, we need to create more resistant steps for viewing social media platforms. One of the ways to do it is actually delete the apps from the phones. If you, the parent, think, actually, I have no power to do that, it's my child just does it, well, think again. You're the ones most likely who actually bought that phone in the first place, and you're probably the ones actually paying for the contract which provides the data to go on social media platforms. Okay, so by deleting apps from the phone, it just creates that extra step that the kids need to do to actually open those particular platforms, and you say no more on the phone, but you need to go and use the web browser instead. And by having this extra step, it will just minimize their social media time. Tip number 3, remove phone out of sight when doing academic work or any other tasks. It's important to realize a way a human brain works is that it responds to different stimuli. So if you have a lovely pack of crisps or chocolate in front of you, most likely you will go and snack on those. So it's a very similar thing with the phone. They're made very attractive to us. The attention is being stolen all the time. So it's important to just not have it in sight, because we know if the phone is next to us, we will be checking it all the time. We're addicted to this short, very quick increases of dopamine, of checking notifications, emails, and things like that. And it's the way the technology wasn't designed, because that's how the companies make money, is by getting our attention. So when the important tasks are done, such as academic work, just make sure that your child has their phone put away. It might be in a drawer, it could be in a separate room, and that's it. The thing I will say, it's not just about the academic work. Like, how many times you've cooked a beautiful meal, you're sitting there at the end of the long day after work, and you just want to kind of chat with your children to ask them about their day at school, and then they're just constantly on their phones. Just don't allow it. Just say, okay, certain times when it's family time or it's academic work, the phone should be out of sight. This brings us to tip number 4, organize and schedule purposeful technology breaks. So what I mean by that is it's important to actually say, okay, when is the dedicated time when my child can go through the social media platforms? And it's important to discuss it with them and say, okay, well, I would recommend that, maybe you spend 30 minutes there or 30 minutes there, and that gets you to maybe your hour a day. And the question to ask them is, what is the reason that you need to go on social media platform? So if they say, well, I need to keep in contact with my friends, well, you are most likely seeing those friends at school or maybe during your extracurricular activities. But okay, so that could be a good reason, but it needs to be purposeful. So there needs to be a purpose why they're using social media. There is no point just going and scrolling that infinity pool of information that never ends. That's just a loss of time. If they say, Mom, Dad, I actually want to go and watch this cooking video because I really want to learn to bake those biscuits, or I want you to watch YouTube to help me with my biology A level. Things like that, that's absolutely fine, but they need to have a purpose. Why are they going? If it's just to be like, oh, I just want to scroll the information, it's a no-no, right? That doesn't help our brains in any way. So I would say help your kids organize purposeful technology breaks and that means that in future they will actually minimize using social media. My final tip number 5 is know and share the scientific evidence associated with social media overusage. I've now shared some of the scientific evidence with you in this video, so do share it with other parents. The more of us know about this, the more we can help our children and teenagers with building their future. And it's really important message, because I think as parents and as educators, we kind of tend sometimes to take a step back with social media and just let our children overuse it. So I think it's really important to share this message with parents, with other educators, and please support this work and my channel. And again, I hope you found this video is really useful. Please do get in touch, and please do let me know if there are any other educational videos you'd like to see, and share my advice for other topics in parenthood and education. I'm here to help. Thank you so much for attention, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye.